For countless millennia, the legend of Persephone has echoed through time, immortalized as a poignant tragedy, the story of an innocence brutally stolen, of a maiden imprisoned in the dark depths of the realm of the dead. But what if this narrative, so deeply rooted in our collective consciousness, were only a part of a much larger enigma? A carefully selected portion of the truth meant to mask something infinitely more complex, more intriguing, and, above all, more powerful. Imagine for a moment that the much-talked-about abduction was not an arbitrary act of violence, but an undeniable call of destiny, a crucial piece on a cosmic chessboard that few comprehend. Was the young Kore merely a passive victim, or did she already carry within her the seed of a sovereign, predestined to ascend to the throne of the underworld? Prepare for a journey that will take you beyond the veils of conventional mythology. We will delve into the deepest layers and most well-guarded secrets of the Queen of the Underworld, the enigmatic forbidden goddess. Her true power, her agency, her complexity have, for ages, been deliberately obscured, transforming her into a mere reflection of what she truly is. What you think you know about Persephone is merely the shimmering surface of an ocean of unfathomable mysteries where the currents of life and death meet. Those who seek hidden truths, narratives that defy common sense, will find a revelation here. The true story of Persephone is about to be unveiled, and she is much more than you have been taught to believe. She is the guardian of secrets that can change your understanding of the spiritual and mythological world forever. For millennia, her story has been told as a tragedy of stolen innocence, an imprisoned maiden. But what if the truth were much more complex, much more powerful? What if the abduction was, in fact, a call of destiny, an awakening to an ancestral power that pulsed in her veins? Prepare to unveil the layers of conventional narrative and delve into the deepest secrets of the Queen of the Underworld, the forbidden goddess, whose inherent power and agency have been deliberately obscured throughout the centuries. What you know about Persephone is just the surface of an ocean of mysteries waiting to be explored. After all, the version we've been handed seems too simple for a figure of such cosmic importance. We all know the classic story. Kore, the beautiful daughter of Demeter, the goddess of harvest and fertility, is abducted by the gloomy Hades, the fearsome ruler of the realm of the dead. Her mother, Demeter, in despair and fury, causes the earth to wither, leading to a devastating famine. An agreement is then made. Persephone will spend half the year in the underworld alongside her husband, and the other half in the upper world, explaining the seasons. But does this version, laden with victimhood and an almost resigned ending, truly capture the totality of Persephone? This tragedy conceals the true strength, intelligence, and transformative power of a goddess who became much more than an imprisoned maiden. Who was she before? And who did she really become in the depths of Tartarus? It's time to question everything. To understand the true Persephone, we need to revisit Kore, the figure who preceded her. Before becoming the formidable queen of the underworld, she was the maiden, the personification of spring and blossoming. Daughter of Demeter, the goddess of harvest, and, in many traditions, of Zeus, Kore grew up among lush fields and blooming flowers, a symbol of the earth's innocence and vitality. This is the image we've been sold. But if we look closer, there are whispers of a deeper truth, indications that her purity was not the entirety of her essence. Even in her youth and apparent naivety, there was in her an innate sensitivity to mysteries that transcended superficial life. Some ancient texts and minor cults suggest that Kore possessed an intrinsic connection to the cycles of life and death, an intuition for the hidden side of existence that surrounded her. She was not just a divine princess waiting to be rescued. There was a latent force within her, a dormant power awaiting the right moment to awaken. Could this destiny have been sealed even before the abduction? Was she destined to rule a realm that humanity feared? Was she merely a passive victim of divine machinations, or, in fact, a catalyst, a fundamental piece in a much larger cosmic plan, which required her journey to the depths so that the balance of the universe could be maintained? Innocence was merely a veil. Here lies one of the greatest mysteries, the abduction. Seen by many as an act of brutal violence, and superficially it may seem so, but what if it was a predestined event, a calculated maneuver, crucial for cosmic balance? There are strong indications, echoed in hymns and less widespread myths, that Zeus, the king of the gods himself, was aware of the entire plan and, in his often impenetrable wisdom, perhaps even consented to it. Not as an unsensitive father, but as the architect of an inevitable destiny. Gaia herself, Mother Earth, in some accounts, did not resist, but opened up, revealing the chasm from which Hades and his chariot emerged, almost like an invitation, a portal to the necessary. Could this have been a marriage arranged by the supreme gods, a forced union to stabilize the underworld and, more importantly, to activate Kore's dormant powers? This was not just a personal tragedy, it was a cosmic transformation of epic proportions. The realm of the dead could no longer remain without a sovereign worthy of its power, and Persephone was the only one who, in her dual essence, could bring order and life even to the darkest depths. Her abduction was the catalyst for a divine awakening, the seed of her true sovereignty. This sovereignty, however, would not be achieved without an act of profound symbolism and acceptance. Upon crossing the threshold into the realm of the dead, Kore began her irreversible transformation into Persephone. And, contrary to the popular narrative of a solitary imprisonment, she found in Hades not just a captor, but an imposing sovereign, a god of immense wealth and power, who received her as his equal. What followed was not merely captivity, but the blossoming of a complex relationship fundamental to the balance of the cosmos. Hades, often painted as the ruthless villain, was in fact a meticulous guardian of his domain, a god who personified law and order in the depths. His realm was a place of justice, not chaos, and it needed a queen who understood the delicate balance between life and death. Persephone filled this gap. Her presence brought a new dimension to the underworld, infusing it with her dual essence. She was no longer the naive maiden, but a queen in the making, learning to command the legions of shadows and to preside over the destinies of souls. The myth of the abduction, therefore, evolves into a story of elevation, where a goddess embraces a grand destiny, becoming the mistress of a feared yet essential realm. It was during this period of adaptation and descent that she sealed her place, not by coercion, but by an act of choice that would resonate throughout eternity. With her sovereignty established in the realm of the dead, Persephone did not merely content herself with ruling alongside Hades. Her influence transcended the depths, making her a central figure in the enigmatic Eleusinian mysteries, one of the most sacred and secret cults of ancient Greece. For those initiated into these profound rituals, she was not the victim, but the goddess who held the keys to the secrets of death and resurrection, offering the promise of a more dignified and enlightened afterlife. The myth of Persephone also, and perhaps most notably, explains the 4 seasons through the agreement that makes her spend part of the year with each of her realms. When she is on the surface with her mother, Demeter, the goddess of harvest, the earth flourishes in spring and summer. But when Persephone returns to the underworld, Demeter's deep sorrow causes the infertility of the soil, giving rise to autumn and harsh winter. But her power goes beyond the agricultural cycle. In the underworld, she wielded the authority to judge souls, to intercede for them, and to guide the living through the veil of death. Her realm was not merely a domain of despair, but a place of transformation and a portal to rebirth. She was the guardian of thresholds, the bearer of essential knowledge about the final transition of existence, a truth that many feared, but which she mastered with unparalleled grace and power. Persephone's duality, therefore, was not a weakness, but the true source of her unparalleled strength and the secret of her power. She existed in two worlds, carrying within her both the vibrant promise of life flourishing on the surface and the inscrutable depths of death residing beneath the soil. This annual journey, which at first glance seemed like a forced division, a mere consequence of an abduction, was in reality the purest and most essential manifestation of her cosmic power, a cycle she dominated and of which she was the guardian. She was not merely Kore, the maiden of spring, nor solely Persephone, the dark queen. She was both, inextricably linked, the living personification of the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth that governs all existence. Her ability to transition between the realms of the living and the dead was not merely a function, it was a demonstration of a sovereignty that transcended the limits imposed on other gods. Her presence